Growing up on the campus of Tuskegee Institute, young Hexer Holliday had an early introduction to the food services industry.
When I was in high school in '53 and '54, the professor there sent me to a summer camp in dietetics to work. We worked as dishwashers and troublemakers and that kind of thing. So that's really how I got interested in food services.
After receiving his bachelor's degree in commercial dietetics in May of 1958, Holliday was offered a job with the Houston Independent School District.
They were building two new schools, Jack Yates and Booker Washington. So they were looking for teachers. So they contacted Tuskegee, because they had turned out these students. So this same professor recommended me for the job in Houston. I didn't even know where Houston was, hardly.
Holliday packed his bags, bought a one-way train ticket to Houston, and settled in the city's historic Third Ward.
For Mr. Holliday to become here as a teacher to teach culinary arts, it meant a lot to not only me and my generation that was coming after him, but he was on the cutting edge. You could not have found an African American in leadership positions in school nutrition.
After working at Booker T. Washington for a decade, Holliday was promoted twice before taking on his role as Assistant Food Services Director. Holliday says in this role, his primary focus was to improve the professional experience of his employees.
We did a lot to work with the food service managers. They did not furnish uniforms, and we started that program. It was a way of getting some more money in their pockets. And later on, we started giving them a shoe allowance.
Holliday also became very active in the Texas School Food Services Association. He was elected president in 1977, giving HISD a national platform.
That brought a lot of prestige to the district because they had, a member who was an officer in that. And that was when integration first started, because when I got in the state office, it was never been any black officers in there before.
Under his leadership, the association purchased its first computer and set up an official office in Austin.
And he was also one of the first male dietitians, or probably the only one that I can remember that was in the School Nutrition Association. So he did a lot in terms of raising the level and expectations of a lot of us.
Holliday worked as the Assistant Food Services Director until he retired in 1998. Almost 20 years later, a ceremony was held in his honor to recognize his dedication to the district, his tireless devotion to his employees, and his efforts to advance the department.
Houston had a program that people admired from afar, and his leadership and what he represented was one of the reasons. He always talked about team. He always had a theme for his people. He always wanted them to accomplish more. There were people who got their education, went back to school and got credentials in education when he was the director of the department. So, I think for me, someone who was in Michigan, someone who only saw him annually for about 7 or 8 years, I always look forward to seeing Mr. Holliday and seeing what he was doing in Houston that was different and revolutionary.